If you missed How to Thrive in a Time That Feels Like Survival Mode, well, you're in luck. We attached a 30-minute webinar for you guys to check out at home. Man, John packed in information in that 30 minutes. Like I said, I got more out of John in a 3-hour session than I have in a whole weekend of other speakers. So he can pack it in, and his 30 minutes will fly by. A lot of actionable steps you could take and implement now for your business. So great feedback from agents all around the area who tuned in live when we did it, and we just want to share with you because John is amazing at what he does, and we hope it helps you. So enjoy.
Broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone.
John for about a month now, and he has brought more knowledge and guidance that we've never had, to our business and to the brokerage, and we just are excited to share him with you. And I know we can all benefit, and just let John take it away and guide us here and help us get through this.
Awesome. Thanks so much, you guys. Well, let's rock and roll. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to be with you. And what I want to do is I want to support you. You know, the registration page that we went to is How to Thrive in a Time That Feels Like Survival Mode. And keep in mind a couple of things. What I want you to know is I'm just not the guru coach on the other side that's going to rah-rah you and come to you with a bunch of theory. What I'm going to share with you is from my 32 years in the real estate business as an agent, as a leader, and now being fortunate enough to coach great agents, great leaders like Mike and Dionne throughout the world, literally. And the good news is that I've been through the dot-com bubble and bust. I've been through the markets of 9/11. I've been through 08, 09. And here's the good news. I'm still standing. There's probably many of you that are on this webinar today that have been in those marketplaces. And hey, congratulations, you're still standing. Now, here's what I do know. I do know that there's uncertainty and there's question and there's concern and that's normal and that's okay. But here's what I share with people is this. It's okay to feel that way, but it's not okay to stay there. It's okay to feel that way. It's not okay to stay there. Oh, I want to say one other thing too. I come from a space of empathy. I have a family member and outside of whether I had a family member or not at risk during these times, I'm very conscious of the safety and our health, and I want everyone else to be the same, and I want to encourage that. Here's the one thing that I want to share with you guys that's most important to realize is that you're leaders in the community. You are impacting lives more than you know. Hopefully you do know. You know, the buying and selling of a home, it can impact people for the rest of their lives. You are helping them in a major decision that they're making. And one of the things that I want you to think about is 60 days ago, 6 years ago, 32 years ago, when I got in the real estate business, there was an energy that it's always has been and always will be, and that's sales skepticism. I think the mistake that we've made, quite frankly, and I'm not telling you to abandon your scripts and dialogues and objection handlers, but what I'm going to ask you to do is listen real closely. See, sales skepticism is something that's always been there, and it's typically not an objection that people have handled. Let me demonstrate it to you. Sales skepticism is when you walk on a car lot and you're looking at cars and the car salesman says, "Can I help you?" And you say, "No, I'm just looking." Sales skepticism is when you go into a department store and you're looking at shoes and the shoe salesman says, "Can I help you?" You say, "No, I'm just looking." See, we have scripts and dialogues as real estate agents, but here's what you need to know. The consumer has scripts and dialogues. They have their script and dialogue for no. And so our job is not to manipulate someone into a decision. Our job is to lower their guard so that we can counsel them and support them to self-discover a decision that's best for them. Now, we have this sales skepticism thing, and now here we are. Now on top of it, we have uncertainty. And you need to be aware of that. See, I don't believe we're in a transactional process. I believe we create an experience for people. People choose you based on the experience that they have of you. You can do all the great marketing, say all the right things, but if people don't have a positive experience of you, they're not going to choose you. If people do choose you, and then the experience they have in the transaction isn't positive, they're not going to choose you again. Here's what matters more than anything. And for the OG salespeople in the room, and maybe even people that are new, we've all heard this: know, like, trust. Well, what's interesting right now is many agents are paused maybe because there's restrictions on, how you can navigate through the real estate market. Every single market throughout North America is different. But I think the biggest pause that I see with agents, listen, I know agents that are selling a bunch of real estate, as much or more than they ever have. I want to share with you one of the pauses. There is a pause because people have fear and they just want to lay back. And hey, I respect that. Everyone's going to travel through this the way that they want to. But here's the biggest pause: people don't know what to say. And the people that are using the old outdated sales dialogues, the salesy scripts, those aren't going to fly. And I'm going to share with you proof of it. I'm going to give you what to say from this time you're with me. And I'm going to share with you 2 examples where it is working real time in different marketplaces throughout the United States, so that you can leave this webinar and you get to choose. Here's one of the things I tell people whenever I speak in person, or I'm doing a Zoom video, or I'm doing a webinar. There's 2 people that show up, or there's 3. There's one that said, I don't like anything he says, he's full of baloney. Okay, I'm not for everyone. But most of the people, there's a second group that says, man, I like that. That makes sense. I'm going to go out and go for it. And they do nothing. And then there's the group that gets right on it. And let me tell you what that group does. Once this webinar is done, they go take immediate action. I'm going to share with you at the end of the webinar an example of someone who sat on this webinar, this exact presentation yesterday in Arkansas. And within 30 minutes, they text me back the results that they got immediately. You're going to have a choice, okay? And that takes us right into our presentation: urgency versus panic. Now, with all due respect, some of us may be in panic mode right now. And I'll tell you, outside of the circumstances surrounding us, panic mode from a standpoint of where your business is or where you're sitting financially. And I have no judgment, none at all. But here's what I know: people that are in panic or end up in a space of panic didn't have urgency. And that's the thing that I want you to really capture more than anything. When you leave this webinar, you need to have urgency with your actions, because it's going to dictate tomorrow. It's going to dictate the next 30 days. It's going to dictate your career and your personal life on the other end of this. I know, I've seen in going through multiple marketplaces, the people that get through it and actually thrive, and then the people that don't get through it. Now, here's what I know. If you follow what I share with you, what's really neat for me is I was taught by my mentor these principles a long time ago. So as I go through this, it's not much of a shift while I watch other people scramble. Oh my gosh, I need to know what to say, and because it's a sensitive time. Well, what's pretty neat is we just get to go back to doing what we need to do: human connection. Everyone talks about human connection, community, serving people. Well, I think that people got so far away from it, now they're scrambling. You're going to leave armed with the principles and tactics and process that the elite agents use in the world to thrive regardless of market condition. So, number 1, urgency. You get to choose. If you're not urgent, you're going to go in panic mode. And I'm going to share something with you. You'll hear me say it a couple times through this. Here's what you need to face: the kitchen's on fire, you guys, and you get to choose to either stand in the kitchen and watch the house burn down around you, or you get to go to work and put the fire out. It's that simple. Number 2, you've got to double down. The result that you got 30 days ago, is going to require twice the work today, maybe even more, to get the same results you got 30 days ago. These are the realities, period. Needs and circumstances. And I'm going to share some language with you right now. I have this webinar recorded, and Mike and Dionne will have access to the recording, and they'll get it to you post-webinar. But I want you to listen really closely, and you can take some notes. In the interest of only having a small time frame, I'm going to go somewhat quick so I can get a lot to you, but you'll have access to it post-webinar. So, first of all, let me take you to the principle. In 08, 09, you guys, there were circumstances. There was a financial crash. People still bought based on their needs. In 99 to 02, there was the dot-com bubble. There's been 9/11. There were circumstances. People still bought based on their needs. It's up to you in the story you're going to tell yourself. Right now, throughout North America, there's a massive circumstance like nothing we've ever seen in our lives. People are still buying based on their needs. Keep it simple. See, in working with elite performers and working with pro athletes and coaching large organization CEOs outside of our industry, you need to remember these principles. We're in a complex time. Simplicity solves the complex. You want to get good results. Everything big is built on the back of micro commitments. What you really need to focus on, just like I shared at the very beginning, is doing the next right thing right. Write that down. Nothing big. See, what happens when we put something huge, people say, you need a big goal and you need to shoot for the stars. And I mean, all this stuff. You know what happens? Most people don't do it, don't take action because it really sounded good. They served their ego by throwing something big out there, but overwhelm paralyzes them. Well, think about right now. It's okay and it's pretty normal to feel a lot of overwhelm. People are probably working from homes, and now you all got your homeschool. Those with children, you've all got your overnight homeschooling degrees. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and so what you've got to do is just get truly focused on the tiny hinges that swing big doors. But remember, it's just needs and circumstances. See, there's still going to be millions of homes sold throughout the United States and into the future. The question is, are you going to get your share? That's the simple question, period. Now, here's the next piece. I talked about the kitchen being on fire. The faster you accept the reality of the situation, the faster you can take the right action and the less pain you will experience. I am a very optimistic young man at 53 years old. Part of being optimistic, though, is I'm not delusional and I'm real. And so guess what? There's pain. You may have some pain right now with these restrictions. You may have pain with the amount of sales you have right now. You may have pain with your financial situation. And I'm not minimizing it. It's okay. You need to know that. But here's what I want you to do. You've got to accept it. You've got to accept it. And the quicker you accept it, the less pain you're going to experience by getting into action. Here's a great exercise I want to give to you to do every single morning. See, right now, it's more mindset than your skills. I'm going to tell you. Because you know what? Most, if not all of you, have got all the proper skills to thrive. But your mindset's going to get in the way. Here's an exercise I want you to do. Is each morning, I want you to look at this list. Am I being passive? Or was I passive yesterday? Am I feeling passive? Doing nothing and just waiting for the news. And listen, hey, if you're in a financial situation, in a personal situation where you can do that and that's best for you, I respect you. Everyone has their personal choice. What I know is most aren't. What I know is that 70% of all Americans have less than $1,000 in their bank account. This isn't fear mongering. This is just saying the reality. And so that's where I come with a message that's A, proven, and B, that can support you. Maybe you're going to be the spectator. You're going to watch the news, social media, spin out and call people. Did you see this? Did you see that? But ultimately just be paralyzed and stuck in your head. And it's easy to do. Number 3, you're going to contract. Now, contraction has like everything, it has a duality. Okay. And that duality can be, hey, it's responsible in a time like this. There are some places you need to pull back, but don't pull back and hunker down and isolate. Idle time is the devil's playground. Idle time is the devil's playground. Okay. Set up your schedule like you always do, with commitments to the most impactful activities on a daily basis. But let me share this with you, especially in these times. If your most critical activities aren't first and foremost taking care of your head, your heart, and your body first, you're never going to get through it. I mean, you'll get through it, but not the way that you want to. You won't get through challenging times the way that you want to. And I can tell you this, some of the highest performing agents and broker owner managers I know, they got into the business in 08, 09, the worst time when people laughed at them. And now they're leading the industry. Now, number 4, you can be angry. You can make excuses and you can blame everything on everything but yourself. Well, here's the problem with that. That's a victim. That's an energy of resistance, and you're never going to move forward. And here's what I've learned about, well, I learned it a long time ago, but I finally captured it about 11 years ago. I can't change anything that I don't own, and I can't change the things I have no control over. I lose my power when I focus on the things I have no control over. I need to keep my focus on the things that I have control over. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the two different economies, okay? Or you could be the cheerleader. And actually, this is the most dangerous person. They're freaking delusional. Everything's fine, the kitchen's on fire, and the house burns down around them. Here's the final one that I want to challenge you to be every single day. And you know what? You're going to have good days, bad days. You're going to have days of concern. You're going to have days of fear. Those aren't bad. They're just the contrast you need to do something to move out of that space. And the committed person that is persistent, responsible, and takes now action. See, now more than ever, you've got to take now action. Now more than ever. So keep these in mind. You can choose to do nothing, do it alone, or do it with others. Well, that's why Mike and Dionne created the company. They want to do it with others. They know that people perform better when you do it with others. And I don't believe they even have a company. What I believe they have is they have a tribe, they have a village, they have a community, they have a space. See, the neat thing with community is that you can depend on community. Community won't let you down. What's really neat with community is you can contribute to community. And what I want to share with you is doing nothing and or doing it alone. I'm going to tell you something, you're going to struggle mightily. And here's one space I want to challenge you with, and this runs common in a lot of people, okay, is the inability or the discomfort in asking for help. Now more than ever, you need help. And guess what? You're not in this thing alone. Many times when we would want to ask for help, in the past, it was, well, I was kind of singled out. Hey, listen, no one is exempt from what we're going through. And there's nothing better than doing it with others. Number 2, right now, you're probably looking at and gathering information, new behaviors, new tactics, new ways that we need to work. And I can promise you this, that the business is going to be a lot different as you go through this, but not only just in getting through this on the other side, but it doesn't matter what new strategy or tactic that you implement in your business, some new behavior or knowledge. You've got to surrender. You've got to let go of the old and focus on the now. And here's one of the things, what's really cool is some of the old that you may be hanging on to has nothing to do with the new skill. It has to do with consistency. It has to do with commitment. It has to do ultimately with mindset. So what I would do is I would take some time right now and reflect and say, you know what? Was I consistent in my daily schedule? Was I consistent in taking care of myself physically, spiritually, and in my heart and in my relationships. Yeah, I'm going to go there because here's what I know in working with high performers. If you don't take care of yourself personally, you can't show up professionally. See, we've got to be consistent across all channels in our life, our business and our personal. One will catch up with you if you don't have them both in alignment. If you've had bad habits, I'm not saying be perfect, but own the fact that you hadn't been as consistent and make the choice when you get off this webinar to be more consistent. Number 3, the 2 economies. There's one economy right now that's a reality. What's going on out there financially? What's going on right there, right now outside of us with the virus? You have no control over either one of them. Your economy is your actions, period. Your economy is your actions. Your money and your outcome is a product. Worrying about money, thinking about money isn't going to change your economy. Now, being conscious of where you're at financially, sure, use that as motivation, but then ultimately know if you want anything to change, you've got to change your actions. Period. And like I said in the beginning, double down may not be enough. Maybe it's triple down. But those people that understand that my greatest leverage is in my actions are going to win. So here's what you need to do. Okay. What you need to do is, like I said in the beginning, is get real. Full acceptance of the current situation. If you're talking negative about it, if you're down in the dumps constantly about it, and anything that's not positive, you haven't come to acceptance and you can't move forward. Now, I had a broker owner of a large real estate company reach out to me on Sunday. Hey, I need some help. Tell me, what do I need to do? I said, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the worst case scenario. And that's what I want you to do. Because a lot of times you're worrying about what we make up in our head. You know what? Get the real picture in your head. What could be the worst case scenario? In that person's situation, it was, you know what? I need to move out of my home with my wife and my daughter and our dog, and we move in an apartment. We go down to one car. And I said, and how would you be? We'd be fine. And you know what? Here's what I'd say to you. If you wouldn't be fine with that, then what we need to do is we need to get our values in line. Now, am I being extreme? Of course I am, because I want you to go to the worst case scenario. Because the interesting discovery you're going to have, you go to your worst case scenario, okay? But yet you've got the people you love and you got a roof over your head. My goodness, we need to look at where we're aligned with our values. I can tell you this, sales skills and all that and marketing skills are important. But when we get our values in alignment, it's pretty interesting what happens. And you're going to see, it may be you, it may not be you. You will see the people that thrive through this are the ones that take and look at this as an opportunity to grow not only professionally, not just work hard in their business, to work hard personally. Here's the brutal one. You've all been taught this, you've heard it. Listen, right now, more than ever, you need to look at the people, places, and things in your life that are not going to support you getting through this, and you need to make hard decisions. See, what's interesting when you look at growth or when you look at forward motion, a lot of times it's more of what you do less of instead of doing more of. The reason being is there's a lot of things that we have been doing that don't serve us. They get in the way. Make those hard decisions, create boundaries. Next, focus on everything you have, not what you don't have or what you could lose. Then you've heard it, abundance versus scarcity. You will get what you think about, 100%. Focus on what you have. Go down to the simplest of things. Next, have a plan of action. Go to leadership, go to a peer, get that plan of action, and then take action and be held accountable. Accountability is more important today than it's ever been in your life. Next, I'm going to take you into the tactical part of it. Nurture in our industry has typically meant ambush people. I want you to leave this call and I want you to reach out to people, caring for them, encouraging them, and supporting them. Don't even reach out with a sales offering or anything about real estate. If you're a real estate agent that stayed in contact with them, they know you're a real estate agent, they're naturally going to ask you, what do you see going on in the market? Nurture people the right way, not only in these times, but carry this through when we get on the other side of it. I'm going to promise you, you're going to do really, really well. Number 2, empathy. Co-experiencing the feelings. Be relatable. Don't feel like a salesperson. Demonstrate empathy with people. Be relatable. It'll lower their sales skepticism. It'll lower their guard. Meet people where they're at. Where are people at right now? People are a little bit scared. Where are they at right now? They're in the coronavirus circumstance. Okay, what's the conversation going on in their head? Maybe their conversation is safety and health. I can guarantee you that's part of their conversation. Okay, 100% it is a part of their conversation. Some people are worried about their small business. Be an information portal that can get them information. I'm not saying be the small business SBA loan specialist, but have resources. If someone's struggling with unemployment, have resources. Here's another thing, meeting people where they're at. Some of the greatest videos that we see going on, and if you're not doing video right now, I'm going to tell you right now, you're really going to struggle. You better be, if you were afraid of video, you can't leave here afraid of video anymore, because I'll tell you what, that right there is the kiss of death. If you're not operating on video, you're going to get left behind, period. I know you've been hearing it forever. Well, here's your chance, okay? Enter the conversation going on in their head. Now, here's a couple things I want you to shift. Don't use the word think. I want you to eliminate that from your vocabulary. I want you to use the word feel. Because right now people have an emotional block of uncertainty. People can't make a logical decision when there's an emotional block. And so what's important to remove an emotional block is let people share how they're feeling. How do you feel about the marketplace? How do you feel about selling right now? How do you feel about buying right now? And they're going to open up to you, and they're going to notice that you have empathy. They're going to feel they're being nurtured, which is going to create greater trust. And ultimately, in asking questions, self-discovery is the highest form of human persuasion. I didn't say manipulation, I said persuasion. And persuasion is supporting someone to make a decision. That's what we get paid to do, to help someone to make a decision that's in their best interest. That's why we're a professional. It's like a doctor. A doctor asks us a lot of questions so that we can express where we're at and they can counsel what's in our best interest. It's really that simple. It's a series of questions. Ultimately, what happens is reassurance. So what do? What you need to do is you need to leave this call and you need to get a headset on, you need to call everyone you know, and here's what you say. Hey, it's John Cheplack from ABC Real Estate. I'm just checking in on a personal level. I wanted to see how you and your family are doing as we travel through these challenging times together. And you just shut up. And they're going to share. And if they don't bring up anything about real estate, you end the call with, well, I just want to let you know if there's anything I can do to support you personally, please reach out. You know what happens 90% of the time? They're going to say, well, what's going on with the real estate market? Well, I'm glad you asked. And here's some framework to use. Understandably, some people have paused. Others are still buying. Others are still selling. And some people are moving into their home. There's another group of people that are doing a refinance because maybe they didn't take advantage of the low interest rates and they just want to lower their payment. Some people are refinancing, pull a chunk of change out just to be safe. And you've got other people that refinance and pull a bunch of change out because maybe they see investment opportunity. But you want to know what I'm seeing? And I've seen it my entire career. People are still making decisions based on their needs. There have been circumstances of 9/11. People still made decisions based on their needs. There's circumstances of 08, 09. People still made decisions based on their needs. So based on what I've shared with you, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, Mr. Sphere of Influence, Mr. Past Client, How are you feeling about the market right now? And that's what's happening after my webinar yesterday. That was this exact presentation within 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes. It's the same with phone calls. You're comforting and reassuring people. Gosh, shouldn't we have been doing that all along instead of trying to sell people? It gets better. One of my larger clients, he sent it out to his database. He got 1,500 responses in the first couple hours, had to turn the system off because it was ambushing. Ladies and gentlemen, reach out to your people, see how they're doing. Let them know that you're there for them with anything that they need personally right now. And that's it. And I'll tell you what, if you want to win, and winning is being defined by serving and supporting people with their real estate needs so that ultimately they get the experience you want, you get to earn a living. This is what works. Mike, Dionne, anything before I zoom off? Any questions, anyone?
No, that's fantastic, John. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, John. We really appreciate your time, and just, we knew your words of wisdom and guidance here will help some agents out there, take it to their agents in their office, wherever they're from, and just help people get through this tough time. But like you said, if you're not on video now, people are online more than ever. You need to be, you're going to get left behind. We've been telling our agents that from day one. They need to get out of their comfort zone and get on video and share, reach out to people and just do what you said.
I'm going to close with this, you guys. If you hide right now and your competition isn't hiding, remember this. When there's an emotional time frame that people are going through, like this phase that we're in, this time in history we're in, they're going to remember people the most that reached out to them during this time, and they'll forget the rest real quickly. Go out and take action, you guys.
I told you John could pack it in 30 minutes. We hope you found some relevant information, some content you can utilize in your business and come out a little better position than we are now. So as always, if you want to talk about what John had to say, dive into it a little bit deeper, have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. And as always, we wish you nothing but health and prosperity, and stay safe out there, guys. And we hope we get back to normal soon. God bless.